Hello, art friends.
Hi, art friends. I've stolen Adam's chair. It's got really nice arm support.
It's a good chair, that.
Yeah, leads into what this discussion's going to be about, because if you've watched our channel over like the past couple of years or so, you've probably heard me repeatedly say in videos, one, that Adam is colourblind. If you don't know that, here's a video I'm going to link to up here that Adam is colourblind.
Can we just talk about for the past 2 years, one of them we didn't upload anything?
Well, 2020 happened. Do I have to explain it?
God, no. No, don't.
But yeah, anyway, I wanted to make a video for a while about having like a tremor, but I feel like that's got a little bit complicated over the past couple of days because I've been regularly having like hospital appointments.
She's been poked at like no one's business.
Oh my god, I've you know, like all those funny little mallet things that they hit you with and your funny bone so that your nerves like jump around.
They hit Steph in the foot. I didn't even know you had. I didn't even know you had reactions in your feet. It was crazy.
The good news is I do have reactions in my feet. I don't know if they're good or bad, but the point is that they hit my feet and my feet responded.
Well, you nearly kicked him in the face, so I think you did pretty good.
Oh my god. But yeah, been wanting to make this for quite a while because being doodled it, one of the most like common comments that we probably get on this channel is something along the lines of, when are you next going to do a video where you draw outside? Or why is Steph wobbling so much? So I thought it would be nice to just have a place where I can point people to and have like an open discussion.
Yes.
Now, it's kind of difficult to talk about, one, because I'm not a doctor, I don't fully understand the ins and outs of this stuff, and I'm still in like the diagnosis like process, so I found out a bunch of stuff in one of my most recent ones, which is sort of from the direction of this video already, so I'm sort of confused about like how to structure it all, so it's gonna be a little bit all over the place.
There's a lot going on inside that head.
Oh my god, it really is. If you want to grab like a cup of tea or something, please do on my behalf. I can only drink decaffeinated tea at the moment, and I don't think we have any in at the moment.
How about some good old-fashioned water?
It's so cold, I don't want water. Okay, let me just try and get comfortable. I feel awkward talking about myself.
No,
like,
does anyone really enjoy it? Especially medical
I'm
stuff.
so like fascinated when it comes to like Adam and his colourblindness and stuff. I could talk about that like for like days and hours. The second that comes to me, I'm sort of like, does anyone really sort of care about that? And
well, I happen to find you interesting and I care about you, do you?
But at the same time, a lot of the content that I'm watching on YouTube at the moment are other people talking about like their health experiences, and I think it does help knowing that there's other people out there going through some kind of like a struggle, regardless of whether it's similar to the one that you're currently going through. Yeah,
because it turns out, sorry hun, that, and I'm sure you'll get into this, is that when you mentioned about making a video about this, quite a few people said very similar things.
Yeah, I mentioned it
on
Twitter, saying like, would people be interested, and there was like quite a few people saying that they've got conditions, and there's all kinds of different conditions related to tremor. Like I said, I don't fully know which one it is that I've got just yet, but I'll throw you sort of into the story of like what I know about myself, why it's so like confusing, and I'll make update videos in the future if we figure out what on earth's like going on with me.
Yeah, totally.
I don't fully understand. So basically, if you really want to sort of trace back like my history, pretty much my entire life, I've had a dodgy hip. You might be thinking, what's that got to do with tremor? You can forget about my dodgy hip right now, that's okay, it's just there for reference. Then when I was about 9 or 10, I was transferred to a new school because I was always the new kid in new schools. Now, if you want to know what one of the downsides to being a new kid in new school is, it's bullying. And I was pushed over in the playground and I landed on my drawing wrist, which, you know, as a child, well, even now, it's like my pride and joy to be able to draw with like my right wrist. I can't really use my left wrist very well. So when this happened, I got like a pot put on like my wrist, but I did always notice that after I had that pot took off.
A pot?
Yeah, well, a cast. It's called
Oh, I was gonna say, what kind of crazy northern doctor did you go see? You put a pot on your wrist?
The one that I saw at the hospital recently called it a pot.
Did he? I wasn't paying attention.
So anyway, my wrist sort of like deviates. This is like my drawing hand, and I've always had a feeling that's probably going to be a problem one day. And I've had a lot of like issues with my wrists in terms of like sprains and like, I don't know, it hurts a lot. I can tell that when I'm drawing, it's a lot faster for me to get wrist pains than it is for like the average Joe. So there's something going on with it, which I wasn't surprised because I've had that injury there before. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking maybe the wrist like needs sort of like properly like breaking and like resetting into a certain place, but I've sort of avoided it too much. Like, well, to be honest, I did go and chase up a doctor about it a few years ago, and he really just sort of blew it off as though it's not a big deal. And I was like, I am an artist and I use my hand all the time. I'm not a very sort of pushy, insistent person when it comes to doctors. Like if a doctor sort of gives the hint of like, you're annoying me, like get out my office, I just won't come back ever again.
It's intimidating, isn't it?
It does, it scares me. I don't want to be wasting like
You make
time
yourself vulnerable and then they're like, oh, it's nothing. The worst one is like, it's in your head. It's like, oh.
Exactly. So, for the past few years and stuff, I've been like seeking a ton of like mental health kind of help because, as you know, I was diagnosed with like PTSD, and during like all that, a lot of like the talking came up about like my general health issues, because I think one of the things that I don't really sort of vocalize very much is, well, it's been hinted at since I've been in therapy and doctors and stuff, and I'm in the process and trials of it, more diagnosis stuff going on, that I probably have like autism. And part of that is that I've never been particularly good at talking about like my own sort of like internal experiences, especially when it comes to things like pain or physical pain or...
And I think that's why you developed your art so early on in life. That was the way you were expressing yourself.
Yeah, through like little comics and drawings and stuff. That was just my way that I found that I could like express myself.
Yeah.
And I've discovered recently that there's quite a lot of people on like the autism spectrum in like the art community, so it's been really nice to get to know like a bunch of you guys. I did initially find out about the autism thing being likely in about 2017, and it's just taken a really long time to like follow up and chase because
the doctor's lost her forms for a year.
Yeah. And then by the time when I finally got the forms back in the system, you know what was going on with like 2020, 2021, so...
What did we call it? The cucumber incident?
The big cucumber incident. There has been a very big cucumber incident. My therapist like helped me to learn how to talk about different types of like pain. I know this sounds so ridiculous, like, but if you're also...
to Steph, this was like brand new stuff.
I was being taught like lingo and stuff, so if you're ever going to like a doctor and you're struggling to be taken like seriously, maybe it's just that you don't have the vocabulary to properly like explain what it is that's going on. So knowing the difference between like, is it a sharp shooting pain? Is it like a stabbing pain? Is it a throbbing pain? Is it like an aching pain? Words like that apparently can really sort of feed into like doctors doing like diagnoses and stuff. I just used to be in, I'd be like, I don't feel well. But from my perspective, I thought, they're a doctor, and if I'm really that unwell, I'll sit there and they'll look at me and they'll say, oh yeah, you're not well. Or like in the past, I'd get sort of like a general sort of blood test, and that wouldn't necessarily like come back with anything other than that like I've got anemia, but that's sort of like more of like a generic kind of problem that a lot of people like have.
Generic.
Generic anemia, you know. So, learning how to get like these communication skills has been literally life-changing for me, because all of a sudden like doctors are taking me seriously, which has like never happened even though I've had these issues my entire life. So part of me is like, whoa, why is everyone listening to me all of a sudden just because I've learnt a few words? Like, surely you should have known all this stuff beforehand. So anyway, recently I was transferred to a hospital unit which specialised in like physio things.
Yeah, physio and rehabilitation, yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned like to my doctor who did the referral that I wanted to be sent over because there's been like some people who suggested that maybe my problems come back to like EDS or something like hyper joint mobility, because like one, I've got like a wrist that's bending in a weird way. I've always been like double jointed in my hips. My knees and stuff can do like strange things. I'm always sitting weird and stuff, and people always mention that I sit like a gremlin or whatever. I can also sort of like my elbow.
gotta get that hidden talent in there.
I've got all kinds of weird. I can put like my legs behind my head and all sorts of
stuff. So TMI.
For the longest time, I was thinking, you know what, probably joint hypermobility. So I mentioned this to my doctor and I was like, can you refer me to like a specialist who can at least tell me, is that what it probably is? And that's why I'm having issues with my joints. It still could be this, we don't like 100% know what's going on. So I go to that doctor a couple of weeks ago, and oh my god, it was the most intense experience of my life, like the first, because it was like a half-hour session.
It was intense, start to finish. It was intense.
So he sat Adam in like the corner of like the room in a separate chair.
I was like the naughty corner. I was so angry.
Yeah, and if Adam ever tried to like talk up to sort of back me up on any of my experiences, he was like, no, don't talk, it's her experience.
No.
And there's me thinking, no, I probably have autism. I don't know words to explain stuff I'm going through. This is like my nightmare. So I'm having like a panic attack in like internally. And basically everything he's going through, and he's checking like my wrist, and I said, you know, the majority of my problems that I've had most of my life have been like in my hip.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, just so you know, your doctor put you down that this is just an appointment about your wrist. And I was like, oh my god. I properly communicated that this is something to do with like all my joints, not just my wrist. But I thought to myself, well, at least my wrist, it relates to like my work. That's like where I'm probably getting the most issues, because like drawing's obviously
your main thing,
my main priority. So I thought if he can at least try help rehabilitate like my wrist, then at least that's something. For like the first 20 minutes of like this appointment, it was like a police interrogation. I honestly felt like on the verge of like tears, because it was all about like describing like internal types of like pain, and I felt like I was running out of vocabulary. I didn't know how to like, and a lot of the questions he was asking me were things like, do you get the pain like first thing in the morning? Are your wrists like stiff at this time of the day? And it was so specific that I've been like, I never thought about it. Like, so it's something I've started trying to record and make note of now. But like at the time I was really panicking, and I was thinking nothing's going to come at this doctor's appointment. It's going to be another one where they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, out you go. Thankfully, partway through, I'd say a good like 20 minutes into like this appointment, he's going over like my wrists and everything, and he's pulling them around and everything, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this is gonna hurt so bad tomorrow, because like I'm so like fragile with my wrist and stuff, and this guy's pulling it backwards and like
it was saying like, push against me, push against me, and stuff. Like, I'm trying.
And I was having to do like strength tests and all sorts with like my wrist to see like how hard I can like grasp things and whether my nerves were all working normally and stuff. And then eventually he spots something on my wrist that isn't normal. You'd think that the twisted wrist was the thing that wasn't normal, but apparently this is like a whole strange thing in itself, that it's not actually a bone deviation doing that, so it must be like my
muscles, tendons,
I don't know, making it sort of like tilt the other way. And it's in the same wrist, so if I bend like my wrist forwards, I wonder if you can even see from like that.
Let me see if I can get in a little bit closer from this.
Oh, I'll show like...
Yeah, that's it. It's there. That's it.
Whereas on this one, there is nothing like that.
It's all smooth.
So my instinct when he first saw that was like, oh, you hear about artists getting these quite a lot, called like ganglion cysts. So I was like, that's probably what it is.
Cyst, yeah.
And he was giving it like a really good like poke.
He was jabbing it like there was no tomorrow.
And stuff. And he told me that he'd basically like get back in contact with me like in about a week's time or something, because he needed to talk to like one of his colleagues to discuss what's like the best thing to do for me and stuff. But one of the main things that he was concerned about was my tremor, because like throughout all of this I'm like divering everywhere, as I always like do. And he was saying to me, has a doctor ever sort of like tested you for this, this? And I was like, nope. And he was like, well, what's the doctor told you that it is in the past? And I was like, oh, my doctor just told me that it's anxiety. And he was like, okay, but that's sort of like the last thing we like to presume it is, because like there's all kinds of other conditions that it could be, and it's better safe than like sorry. So basically that's the test and stuff that I'm going to be going through in the future, so heck knows what it actually is.
Stay tuned for testing vlogs.
Hooray! In all honesty, even if it ends up being like whatever it ends up being, it'll be a relief to just have it like diagnosed and then be on some kind of like treatment plan so that I can help it.
And not to mention finally have it on your record.
Oh my
well,
gosh,
so
yeah,
they know.
hospital records, because I've moved around so many times, doctors have straight up told me like, oh, we've lost like huge chunks of your records before. I've went through like medical procedures where I've had tubes down my throat and stuff, and then they've lost the tests that went along with that, and then they're like, oh well, you can do the test again. I'm like, I don't want to do that test again. Like, I still have nightmares about the previous.
Yeah. Oh well, we've got plenty of tubes.
So welcome to my medical nightmares.
But you do look good, I have to say. You're wearing it very well.
Thank you. Oh, also, I sometimes get compliments on my eyeliner, and just so you know, that's one of my favourite things to get compliments on. As a person with a tremor, I don't know what I'm doing. My hand's like shaking quite a lot as I'm trying to do it, and it's at a very funny angle today, but at least I've got makeup on my face.
That gives me anime vibes. I think you look quite cute, hun.
Maybe that was the look I was going for. So anyway, back to the main storyline of this video. My doctor, I go back to see him, and this is like my most recent appointment that I had like 2 days ago. And he's showing me like all these exercises that he wants me to like do to help like strengthen it up. And I said to him, oh, so this lump on my wrist, it's like a ganglion cyst, right? And he was like, oh no, that's definitely not a ganglion cyst. So I was like, what is it then? And he was like, well, we don't know fully until we've done like a proper test on it, but he's saying what we think it is that we think it's one of your hand bones that's like come out of place.
Yeah, and it's like become inflamed sort of as a result. Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently your hand bones are meant to be like a very fine like jigsaw.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
One of mine's like popped out of place and sort of like dislocated. So that explains why it hurts when I draw. I'm not trying to get out of drawing because I'm like,
oh no one thinks you're trying to get out of it.
It's not like my homework and I'm the naughty schoolgirl who's like, hee hee, look at me avoiding doing work over here. I am genuinely struggling with things over here. Another thing that I have discovered as well is that my doctor's mentioned, because like obviously he's like a specialist in like wrists and stuff like that.
He is, yeah.
He's been like obviously going all over like my joints and stuff, and he's mentioned that my tremor, it's not exclusive to like this wrist, so he's saying he's hoping like the exercises and stuff that I'm doing are going to help like give my hand a bit more strength, because I can't open like bottles and stuff. Just to give you a quick little view, I've got like this on my desk which can help me open like bottles.
I love him.
Another example of more wrist aids, like my Switch, I've got this on it with like handles so that I can like grip hold of it.
That thing has helped you so much. Guys, if you do get hand cramps with your Switch, that is amazing.
Another one is this on my giant tablet pen. Yeah, the Apple Pencil. It's a really huge like grip thing. I'll put like links to a lot of these things down below in case there's anyone else.
If you find them useful, all of these have seriously helped Steph a lot.
Well, they help me give me a little bit more independence when Adam's like asleep. I can sort of try using these things, and because otherwise I've got to wake him up and be like, I'm really thirsty, can you open this bottle for me?
I'm just like, where am I?
He does it in his sleep sometimes, and then he'll come in and be like, who said you were allowed to drink the fruit juice? I'm like, you opened it for me, it's not like I could open it myself. So anyway, because it's not exclusive, the tremor, to like my wrist, which I wasn't entirely sure where I thought it was. I knew it was in like my drawing hand. I thought it was in both my hands, but it seems like I've got it in like my legs as well.
Yes.
And because of that, my balance is like very much off, and I fall over quite a lot.
Now that was something though, do you remember? He noticed when he asked Steph to sit up on like an observation bed thing.
Yeah, a little exam table.
And he commented on how you walked when you went to it, didn't he? He said that you were quite dithery when you walked.
I do typically, like in my day-to-day, try not be on like my feet like too much at the moment, just because like when I am up I end up like I get bruises all over the place, I'm falling over, I'm hitting my head off things. And I feel like the best way I can describe it is that I'm calibrated wrong. You know, like when you're doing a digital drawing and you're drawing over here and your point's sort of over here.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of slightly off from where I feel like I am. And when I'm walking I twist like my ankles quite a bit, or like,
yes, you do. Yeah,
I properly like just fall over. And there's been like times where I'm out in like public and I fall over and stuff. So for people who want like outdoor videos and stuff, I think,
do you want this person to suffer? Is this what you want?
I feel like my health's just not in like, To be honest, my health probably wasn't in the place for it when we first started the channel, because I remember when we did like that castle video, afterwards
You were exhausted.
I was crying in bed for like hours afterwards.
Yeah, she was done, yeah.
I didn't know how to communicate that. I just cried in bed for like a few hours and then immediately got up because I was like, I need to edit this and we need to get this video up for like tomorrow. So it's difficult because like obviously people have got attached to our content because they've seen a version of me that's less disabled and then they're like, be more like that, we'll watch your videos, and I'm like, oh my god,
but it
I'll die.
Oh my god, don't say. But it was kind of like, you were kind of like living a lie with it. I mean, I've been fine with it, you know, I'm fine with walking around and doing stuff, but it was getting to the point where this one, look at this angel, it was too much on her body, and that's why we were filming indoors. And we're not saying that we're not going to film outdoors ever again, but at least for now, you know, in the interest of health, you know.
Not only that though, with like all the stuff, the big cucumber incident going on.
Oh yeah, that stuff too.
That, even if I didn't have like health issues and stuff, I would be very hesitant about like eating out in restaurants and things and stuff at the moment, which I think a lot of people are. That's sort of why those industries have sort of like struggled to have as much business and stuff for quite a while. So I wanted to give like a full backstory of what's going on with like my health. The tremor thing, my doctors recently said to me, because it's in like all of my body, I've got another doctor's appointment coming up soon in like December at some point, and I need to try and get like a hospital referral from that. And this doctor said, don't let them like palm you off, because you really need to see like a neurologist.
Yes.
So that's going to be my next.
So we're going to go in there today, we're going to kick that door down. And say,
yeah, he even said to Adam as well at this time, like he spoke to Adam, which is like a miracle. In fact, like since he's done all my tests and he's realised that there are things wrong, he's been like so nice and so kind to me. But oh my god, that first like 20 minutes when I was talking to him and he couldn't figure out what it was.
Talk about like breaking you down and building you back up. He gave you a right dressing down.
I don't know if it's because the worry that people are like trying to take advantage of like the health system to try and get like
I'm sure there's people.
Or something.
I'm sure there's people that lie to try and get stuff. Yeah, I'm sure there is. But you genuinely are trying to get help.
Yeah, that's all I want. I don't want any money or anything from them. I want to be able to earn my own money.
You want to be independent.
Help it. Yeah, that's all I
basically.
want. I just want the body to be able to do things on like my own.
Exactly, independence. It's what we all want.
But Adam, he has been such a superstar for me throughout like all of this, because whenever I need like things picking up from like the doctors and stuff, he'll go like by himself to pick them up for me. He helps with like making my meals and things, or if I'm on the floor and I can't get up, he'll come and pick me up.
That's the most fun one. That's the most fun. I literally, it's like she's a little baby. I'm like, oh, come on, up we go. It's fun, I don't mind it.
But I am excited that I'm at least on the tracks to be getting some kind of like help, because I've been hesitant to talk about it in the past because one, I just didn't have the vocabulary to talk about my experiences, and thankfully all that intense therapy and stuff that I went through in the past, it helped me piece together like all my life experiences. And
therapy, guys, seriously, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so helpful, especially if you struggle to communicate.
Yes, definitely.
Teaches you communication skills. Who knew those are useful?
Talking to people, wow.
I'm just grateful that there's a lot of help like coming my way at the moment, and one of the things that I want to sort of really properly sort of get the help from professionals with is things to do with like mobility like aids, because I've always been hesitant to buy something for myself when it's not been like 100% confirmed from like a doctor or anything, because I don't like feeling like I'm self-diagnosing and I'm just like, you know, picking up something. And
it's good that you're not, to be honest. It's good. It is good that you're putting your trust in the people that are trained and know what they're doing. Like, I don't want to wake up one morning and see you with like 2 walking sticks, a Zimmer frame, you know, a walking...
Although, you know, there's some people out there where that's like their only options that they've got, really, because at least I've been on a waiting list for such a long time because of like the whole cucumber situation thing going on.
Yes, it's true, yes.
And it's just been almost impossible to get like hospital appointments. And then even when I was in like the hospital the other day, I had like the woman saying to me like, oh, you're not booked in, and I was like, oh well, the guy told me that it's on his lunch break. And then like some other doctors came out and they were like, well, I didn't book her, it's not me on my lunch break or whatever.
I was like, pipe down, mouth, what's talking to you?
I'm sat there thinking like, I'm such a burden. I'm making everyone argue. I'm sorry.
Like, so you're gonna need a doctor in a minute, doctor.
Is there anything worse than a doctor making you feel guilty for taking up the time?
It's like, I'm paying your wages here.
Oh dear.
But the fact is that we did get it sorted. Well, that day anyway.
Yeah. I don't know like whether this is going to be like a few months in the process, years in the process. I'm not like super hopeful it's going to be something that resolves in like a couple of months, because like the hip joint thing, I was born with that and no doctors rushed to help me with that, so we'll see with time. But since it's affecting me in terms of like having falls and things, I had one before the cucumber situation started. I did a big independent trip, big girl journey to London all by myself.
Yeah, the ladies there, yeah.
I met up with one of my friends because I used to live in London, met up with one of my good friends there. And I fell over during that and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I managed to do this. And it was on like a concrete path with stones.
And I wasn't there, so I was freaking out.
Yeah, but pretty much every time I go somewhere and Adam's not there, I fall over. So.
It's because you haven't got these tight, manly hands to look after you, honey.
So, yeah, hopefully in the future, some kind of like walking stick, Zimmer frame,
whatever it is, you know.
Mobility scooter, because a lot of the places do like rent those out that you can like borrow from them and stuff.
Can you get one of the electric ones and we can ride it together? It'd be so cool.
Adam's excited about it. I'm less excited. I don't trust myself. I don't even drive a car, so I'm not.
The reason that I'm excited is because like it's getting help that you've been after for like a decade. That's why I'm excited. I'm not excited at the prospect of Steph being in a wheelchair. I feel like I should elaborate on. That's what you made it sound like. No, I'm excited that you're getting the help. You're getting the help that you need.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the important thing. Like, despite everything that's happened, you're still here. And no matter what happens from now on, I'm here and
Oh, isn't it your sweetheart? I'm very lucky to have
I
him.
like looking after you, it's fun.
I'm sorry if this has been like a really long and waffly video, but...
What you got there?
So, here is my Doodles and Me, which I have hilariously left a comma in there. Ha ha ha. It was an accident.
But you've learnt to communicate, yeah.
Then we have also got some comics over here. We've got Serial Fairies and Una. Adam's been working on the second part of Una recently.
I'm hoping to get the second part of that out by the end of the year. I've set myself a goal to do that.
Feel free to hold him to it.
Oh god, feel free to bust my balls over it. And we'll communicate some more in our next Doodle date.
Do it.
Bye guys!
Bye bye.